call Spectacular Friday. And it's not only because it's the last Friday of the month. Listen to the lineup and you'll get what I'm talking about. We'll be updating you on two very important current affairs issues, progress on the government's economic reform program, and what the Ministry of Education has done to ensure there's a smooth start to the new academic year. I'm Audrey Williams. Those and more after these messages.
Householders, business people, school administrators, protect yourself and your children from the chikungunya virus. Be on the alert. Help control the mosquito population. Chikungunya is a virus transmitted by the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which breeds in and around your home, workplace, and school. Destroy breeding sites. Empty old tires and all other containers where water can settle. Bore holes in old cans. Cover water drums and garbage cans. Wash flower pots and vases and clean pet dishes regularly. Protect yourself from mosquito bites. Cover your body as much as possible and use mosquito repellent containing DEET. And if you're experiencing symptoms of chikungunya, a sudden high fever, headache, rash, nausea, pain, stiffness, or severe joint pains, see your doctor or go to the nearest health center.
Good day, I'm Andrea Chisholm and this is your JIS News for Friday, August 29. An exceptional man, humble, humorous, just some of the words used to describe the late Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Roger Clark, who passed away on Thursday in the United States. Mr. Clark, who was on medical leave from his ministerial responsibilities, left the island in late July to undergo surgery and medical treatment for a back condition. Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller and other cabinet ministers have been leading the tributes for Minister Clark, who was also the Member of Parliament for Central Westmoreland.
Roger was a one-of-a-kind politician, a son of the soil, a humble man, and I will always remember him for his generosity of spirit, but also his contribution to Jamaica as councillor, mayor, Member of Parliament, and Minister of Government.
An exceptional minister, because in terms of the portfolio of agriculture, he talked the talk and walked the walk. Why do I say that? He was a very successful farmer, sugarcane farmer. And I think the last time he told me, I can't remember what he was planting, permanent trees, mahogany, but he's always doing something in agriculture. So when he spoke about agriculture, people had to listen because he could personalize it.
I call him my father, my friend, my uncle, and he has been a great, great leader. We really miss him because he has really made an incredible mark on the agricultural process, and we want to salute him. I describe him as a champion of champions. Agriculture has been better because of the Honorable Minister Roger Clark.
Opposition leader Andrew Holness remembers Minister Clark as one of Jamaica's finest servants, describing him as a man who dedicated himself to serving the people of Jamaica, particularly the agriculture sector, and doing so in a commendable manner. And commendations have also come from the United States Embassy, which recalls the minister as being passionate about the agriculture sector, having led many trade and development agreements between Jamaica and the United States. And be sure to stay tuned to Jamaica Magazine for more tributes and reflection on the life of the late former agriculture minister. In other news, the Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC will be rolling out an extra 120 buses September 1 to better meet the commuter demand in the Kingston metropolitan region. A total of 445 buses will hit the road on the first official day of the new school year.
We have put a number of our buses through maintenance programs during the summer, and that has allowed us to maintain and put back in service some 503 units for September. We will run 445 but we will have 503 units up and running, and that will enable us to have a reliable service, because if a bus goes down, we can always substitute.
The JUTC's managing director was speaking during a tour of the bus company's depots and the transport centers on Wednesday. He said the public would be able to view the JUTC's bus schedules in the transport centers on the company's website and in the August 31 Sunday Gleaner, as well as the Observer.
You will be able to see how many buses are on that particular route and what is the frequency, and you'll be able to know that on my route there is a bus every 10 minutes or every 5 minutes, and you'll be able to plan your life according to that schedule.
Meanwhile, starting Monday morning, children, the disabled and elderly persons traveling on JUTC buses must have their smarter cards to access the concession fare. Children aged 3 to 11 years pay a concession fare of $30, the same that apply to persons with disabilities, while seniors pay $40.
Without your smarter card, if you fall in these categories, it will mean that you have to pay the only fare that a driver can sell, and the only fare that the driver will be able to sell is $120.
Persons can go to one of the JUTC's 6 locations to register for and collect their smarter cards.
2 in the Halfway Tree Center on the upper level and the lower level, 1 in Spanish Town, that's 3, 1 in downtown Kingston at East Parade, as well as 2 mobile units.
On Monday, those students who did not get their smarter cards will be allowed to ride free for that day on the condition that the ride will be used to go to one of the JUTC centers to get a card. In the meantime, government remains committed to continuous dialogue with trade unions on matters relating to the recent bus fare increase and additional resources for the public sector bus fleet. In a release, Minister with responsibility for the public service, Horace Daly, said all stakeholders would be brought to the table to discuss the issue. He added that the ministry was hoping that at the end of the discussions, all stakeholders could move forward with one common understanding. And finally, 3 corporate area schools have been gifted with black tanks to improve their water storage capacity as the new academic year draws close. Telecommunications company Digicel handed over the storage tanks on Thursday to Kingston College, Franklin Town Primary and St. Michael's Primary.
I'm grateful for your help. Thank you, sir.
And that's it for GIS News today. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Thank you for watching.
I'm Mario Mackenzie, Robin, captain of the Calabar High Track team. And me have a message for anybody who are planning to take the tablet them, what the government give the schoolers for use in class. You never hear so them break the tablet them. That mean anywhere the tablets there, the government can shut them down. Plus GPS tracker installing of them. And even if you find a way and you go around all of that, the minute you go up on the internet, them are going to know. So here what you do. Just leave the youth them with the tablet. Give them a chance to further them education. Makes sense. Done.
Roger was a one-of-a-kind politician, a son of the soil, a humble man, and I will always remember him for his generosity of spirit, but also his contribution to Jamaica as councillor, mayor, member of parliament, and minister of government.
The country would well remember that Roger Clark and I served as his Minister of State from 1998 to 2002. And it was an excellent apprenticeship period for me as a Minister of State. I remember him well, not just as the Minister of Agriculture, but I remember him as a friend, one who you could always call on, one who you could speak to in confidence.
On the government side, an exceptional minister. because in terms of the portfolio of agriculture, he talked the talk and walked the walk. Why do I say that? He was a very successful farmer, sugarcane farmer. And I think the last time he told me, I can't remember what he was planting, permanent trees, mahogany, but he's always doing something in agriculture. So when he spoke about agriculture, people had to listen because he could personalize it. In terms of representational politics, he was, to me, one of the best on the platform. He was an exceptional communicator. And when he communicated, the message would be appropriate for different levels in the society. But it would, it would really reach home.
He was able to bridge the political divide, a man loved by both sides of the political spectrum. He represents the best of what politics should be as a representative and as a leader. What I remember most about Roger is how is the consummate ease with which he connects with people, whether at what you would say the top or the bottom. He builds relationship. If Roger is going into St. Thomas, there are some places that he would call to say, I'm coming out, and he's going to stop, whether it's 3-4 places, and no matter how late he is, he's going to stop, spend a little time, and just laugh.
I think he played the part of a stand-up comedian for a short while. Whenever you were with Roger, the thing that would strike you most is his sense of humor. In terms of the everyday business of life, he knew and reacted with the ordinary Jamaican in a way that was exceptional. I mean, traveling with him is a joy.
And he was quite a storyteller. This was Minister Clark speaking with JIS in 2009, reminiscing with nostalgic fondness about what Christmas was like for him as a child.
We used to have some concerts, and I was a great little actor, at school. So they used to put on these things they call cantata and plays, and I used to be very, very much involved in acting. I used to be very enchanted to seeing these guys, you see, coming on to Christmas, like Christmas Eve. They come into the one little store that was there, and these men would be there buying underwear for their ladies, and I would be there looking at them. I can't forget one Christmas. I was there in the store, and this man took up this nice negligee thing and I went up to look, and he pulled it over my head.
After the operation, which was successful, I spoke to him. He told me he said, 2 small incisions. It wasn't any big invasive surgery. He said he walked the first 3 yards. Then when next I spoke to him, he had gone about 500 yards and, strong voice.
We will never be able to replace Roger. A former minister of several ministries, including local government. And I visited him in Miami on August 14th. And we, as in his room, we chatted a lot. He was really on top of the world. I've never seen him looking that fit.
He was very close to some of us. He was close to Sandra, particularly the female, and he would give us trouble sometimes. The jokes, he would keep us laughing. There was never ever a sad moment, a dull moment. He would send little notes to me even in cabinet, and then I would look up and so that I don't laugh. He would send notes to Natalie and to Lisa and to Sandra. He was like that, even at cabinet meeting. And if there was anything and it's very serious and we are real and the thing is intense, you'd get a note from Roger. So you have to pause and smile. He was a very special person.
Guys, I'm not ready.
Ready long time. Let's go. Ready, Mona? Yeah. Oh, Shelly, I have a file for you for tomorrow, okay? All right. I'm gonna leave it on your desk. Sure, go right ahead. But Shelly, you don't shut down the computer. But it not gonna do nothing. But of course, when you leave it on, it burns excess energy. I say go? Yes. Okay. Did you know that the country foots the bill to import the fuel that produces electricity? Let's all play our part to conserve on energy by ironing once per week, unplugging all appliances when not in use, and avoid keeping the refrigerator open for a long period of time when removing food. Get smart. Don't get left in the dark.
So by now, we all should have heard the good news. That's right, the Jamaican economy is on a path to economic prosperity, recording 4 consecutive quarters of growth. Get the details in this next feature.
The Jamaican economy is improving, a clear sign that the policies and the programs being implemented by the government under the Economic Reform Program are bearing fruit.
Real gross domestic product in the Jamaican economy grew by an estimated 1.2% in the April to June 2014 quarter, compared with the corresponding quarter of 2013.
This represents the 4th consecutive quarter of growth. For the April to June 2014 quarter, the agriculture and construction sectors expanded, outweighing declines of 0.6% in mining and quarrying and 0.3% in manufacturing. For the services industries, hotel and restaurants, transport, storage and communication, and wholesale and retail trade were the strongest performers. On top of that, the Executive Board of the IMF confirmed that Jamaica was successful in the first 4 tests administered on the year 1 of the program. And recently, an IMF mission to Jamaica indicated that
the program is on track. Overall, policy implementation under the program remains strong. All quantitative performance targets, indicative targets, and structural benchmarks for end June were met.
that information will be passed on to the IMF's Executive Board, which will assess the findings in September. And if they accept the report, Jamaica will get about $71 million more under the program. This positive development has already paved the way for Jamaica to receive an additional $1.7 billion in grant funding from the European Union (EU) to support the sugar industry. It brings total disbursements since January 2014 from the EU to 4.51 billion Jamaican dollars. There have been other pieces of good news for the Jamaican economy. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin reported a 3.3% decrease in the unemployment rate for the month of April. Occupations in the hotels and restaurant services, transport, storage and communication sectors recorded the most growth. And for inflation, the rate at the end of June 2014 stood at 8%, down from 8.8% in June last year. That's despite a 25% increase in bus fares last year and the depreciation of the Jamaican dollar.
Historically, such a combination of shocks would have been enough to send inflation spiraling into double-digit territory. But that did not happen this time. Instead, the environment for inflation has demonstrated what I would like to characterize as an unprecedented resilience.
Another indication that the fiscal policies being pursued by the government through its economic reform program are reaping results.
I think that the positive results we're seeing with the fiscal management, lower inflation, improved employment, and a smaller current account deficit all are pointing in the same direction, and that direction is an economy that is turning, becoming more efficient and producing some growth. And for that we are quite pleased.
On the tax collection side of things, total tax revenues for the April to June 2014 quarter were $1.5 billion more than the $8 billion target, but GCT and corporate taxes underperformed.
I think we have to bear in mind also that we have, over the past 6 months or so, undergone very far-reaching reforms to the structure of the tax regime that in many respects this still has to work through the system as a whole.
Since January, Tax Administration Jamaica has introduced a number of initiatives as part of the tax reform program, like the mandatory electronic filing of tax returns for some categories of taxpayers, as well as changes to the GCT structure for public sector organizations. Jamaica's net international reserves stood at approximately $2.1 billion at the end of July, reflecting the $800 million the government received through a bond on the international capital markets. The primary balance at the end of June was $18.5 billion, $3 billion more than targeted. So since government's economic reform program is reaping positive results, the plan is to continue the process of economic transformation.
The path we're on is the right path, that we need to focus on it, continue to pay attention to the most vulnerable. But if we shrink from taking the steps we need to take going forward, we will have, in a sense, wasted the effort and the sacrifice that has been contributed by the stakeholders over the last 2 years. The recovery is projected to continue over the next 4 quarters, despite some slowing in the September quarter due to the impact of the drought on agricultural production. The outlook for growth in the full fiscal year 2014-15 remains within the original projections of 1 to 2%.
More emphasis will also be placed on growth, increasing investor confidence and creating jobs.
The government of Jamaica is committed to continuing the extensive program of reforms of tax and public sector financial management, of the public sector modernization, of labor market reforms, all of which are important elements of the program going forward.
Me a 15, me nah run down no baby daddy, me a stay in a school, be married, get my education, so young girls, if you no mess up, get up, brush off, and remember, nourish.
1, 2, buckle my shoe, either or, neither nor. Por favor, gracias. CO2, the formula for carbon dioxide. Yes, it's back to school time again. One last weekend to dust off those books, refresh your memories, and get into the frame of mind for school on Monday. The Ministry of Education is ready, and so should you.
We're ready. We're ready. Yeah, we're ready. 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 We're ready. We're ready. Yeah, we're ready. Ready.
The countdown is on. There are just a few days left till the start of the 2014-2015 academic year, and the Ministry of Education is ready.
We're ready for the road.
I'm pleased to say that all high schools accounts are now funded with the tuition and maintenance grants. Primary schools are funded with their first term grants as well.
At the high school level, the ministry gives schools $11,500 per student to cover tuition expenses. At the primary level, $930 per student is given, while infant school receives $830 per student. Administrators use the money to help fund their operations. Parents and guardians are also asked to pay an auxiliary fee to help meet expenses not covered by the government grants. But Students who are wards of the state as well as those on the Program of Advancement through Health and Education path get a break. The Education Ministry is contributing $2,000 towards their auxiliary fees.
We're ready for the road.
The 50 Schools in 50 Month project being undertaken by Food for the Poor in commemoration of Jamaica 50 continues. Approximately 40 basic schools have been constructed and will be available for the reopening of schools come September, and the others are slated for completion by year end.
We're ready. Yeah, we're ready. Ready.
Additionally,
under the Infant School Rationalization Project, 200 primary level institutions have been earmarked for incorporation of infant departments. To date, 34 visits have been made and 30 were recommended, and contract is awarded for retrofitting and repairs. The other 4 will be accepted as is without any infrastructural repairs. Approximately 51 million is allocated for this program. Chase Fund has committed 87 million for repairs and retrofitting of 10 early childhood institutions in this financial year.
We're ready for the road.
The matter of various kinds of diseases, if I may call them that we are currently being faced with, are being given serious consideration in the Ministry of Education. We have been in touch with the Ministry of Health. They have provided us with all the detailed information on the chikungunya as well as the Ebola. We are now packaging that to be sent out to our schools in terms of the precautions, in terms of how our children can safeguard themselves, in terms of what our parents are expected to do. They have also assured us that they will be doing fogging across the island.
the Ministry of Health has also activated its regional teams who are working in partnership with regional education officers to conduct community workshops and other public education programs to sensitize parents and children.
We are sending out the tips in terms of students taking their own water that is boiled, in terms of how students wash their hands, sanitizers and so on that can be used and how they are to be used. We are also in discussion with ODPEM as well as the National Water Commission. We are now putting together the information in terms of the schools that currently have storage facilities where they will be directly working with us to truck water to those schools. Those schools that do not have storage facilities, through our regional offices, we are trying to provide storage tanks for them, especially our primary schools. A lot of them take water from the main, and hence we expect that our schools will have sufficient water for the new school year.
So no need to worry about that first September morning. The Ministry of Education has everything under control for a successful return to school.
We think we have a sufficiently robust program in place that will safeguard our children.
We're ready for the road.
And that's it for this Friday's edition of Jamaica Magazine. View these and other features from our program at jis.gov.jm. Follow us on Twitter at JIS News and send your feedback to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. I'm Audrey Williams, and this has been Jamaica Magazine. Another program comes your way tomorrow. Take care, and thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.